My name is Michael. I am 21 years old, and my first crush was a girl named Rachel in middle school. My first kiss was my ex, Elizabeth. I don't know. I've never really had success in one of those. I mean, it's cool that they exist, but I don't know if they're the best way to go about actually meeting someone. I think my best date I've ever had was just this kind of string of different dates that I had all in one day with the same one girl. We just kept like, well, what should we do now? And then we just went to a different place. Like, we saw a movie, and then we were like, well, we don't want to stop hanging out. Let's go play Topgolf. And then we're like, well, now we're hungry, so we went and got dinner. And then we still weren't done hanging out, so we went and played video games at my apartment. It was just a very nice continuation of things. I think the worst date I've ever had was when I was going to meet a girl at a restaurant, and it ended up being like a Kirby Lane that was on the other side of Austin. So it took me like an hour to get there. And then she was like 20 minutes late. And then after eating, she asked if we could go to a store. And so we went to a pet store where she bought a mouse to feed her snake. And then on the drive back to the parking lot where I was parked, I had to hold the bag that had the still live mouse in it, like the whole drive there. Well, I kind of, I guess, realizing that I have feelings for someone, I kind of have a little bit of a conversation to myself where I try to figure it out, and usually once I figure out that I do, which that process takes a long time for me to actually decide, yeah, I'm into this person, I guess I next think about, do I really see myself being with them later? Like, how long do I think that would last? And would it mess up more things than it could possibly be good if I start to pursue that person? The first trait that probably attracts me to someone is, I don't know, probably if they're just really polite to me at first. Like, they take the time to say hello and goodbye. Things like that. Well, a very long and painful process. I don't know what more you really want me to say. It's kind of like everything being torn down, and then you have to start trying to build it back up again. My breakup routine, well, I've only really gone through one big breakup, but my routine through that was pretty much go really crazy for like maximum 2 days, and then just start dealing with everything that I'm upset about, like just basically come to terms with everything that happened, and then just kind of trying to look forward from that point on, just not like putting everything else behind me and trying not to think about really much of that relationship anymore. I think I've been in love, at least for a little bit. I think under what I consider to be love, you don't really have that for more than one person at a time, just because it takes too long to build up that point in which, you know, you're really in love with this person, that, like, you know, if you're already to that point with one person, you can't really get to that point with another person because you're too distracted by the first person. And if you start building up that feeling for the second person, you've probably lost it for the first one. And that's why the second person happened. To me, I think love means just kind of always enjoying the person, even if they're doing something you don't particularly enjoy, you still like them. Almost no matter what it is. And of course there are exceptions. There are things that are like in agreement when you're in a relationship with someone that, you know, you just don't do, and if they do those things, well, now they've broken the agreement. But it's like, even if they're, you know, doing something that would just kind of annoy you, you still like them. And, you know, you still hold on to that feeling, and you still feel very strongly for them. Well, probably the only advice I have is, unfortunately, very cynical advice that is just, don't let people get away with shit. Like, if you think you're really into someone and they're being shitty to you, just try to disconnect yourself from that person, because that's not good for anyone.